Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, quite the algebra-heavy lesson today. In the context of geometry, of course, we're going to be talking about slopes and doing all sorts of fun things with slopes. That sound good to you? So, important slopes. Don't forget about your horizontal slopes and your vertical slopes, okay? So if it's horizontal, that's a y equals equation, like y equals 5. And vertical, that's an x equals equation, like x equals -1, okay? Our slope formula, we've already talked about this, I believe, in class. Our slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okie doke. Sorry I drew two different y's. I'm sure that's quite irritating to some. Alright, so that is my slope formula. If I've got two ordered pairs, I can find the slope of the line that would connect those two ordered pairs. Cool? Awesome. Alright, let's write the equation of the line that travels through 4, 2 and -2, 5 in slope-intercept form. So the first thing I need to do is I need to remember my slope-intercept form, right? That is y equals mx plus b. M being my slope, b being my y-intercept, hence the name slope-intercept form. First thing I need to do, I need to figure out my slope. Changing y over changing x. M equals 5 minus 2, which is 3, over -2 minus 4, which is -6. So that would be -1/2. All right. Next, I need my y-intercept. Well, I don't have that with these 2 points, but I can find it. Some people do it by using point-slope form. Some use it using slope-intercept. I'm going to do it with slope-intercept here. So what I can do is I can take my y equals mx plus b. I can take either one of the 2 points that I have. Let's say I'm going to use 4, 2. That means y is 2. My slope I know is -1/2. And my x was 4. And looky here, all I have left is b. So I can solve for b, is what I'm doing here. So I have 2 equals -2 plus b. If I add 2 to the other side, I get b equals 4. All right. I've got my slope. I've got my intercept. My final answer for this one is y equals -1/2 x plus 4. Little algebra review. Fun stuff. Okay. So bottom line here, I need a point and I need a slope. If I got that, I'm good to go. I can get a slope from 2 points, and then I can pick either one of those two. Either one would have gotten me the right answer. I just picked 4 and 2 because I saw 2 positive numbers. It's easier to work with. All right, next one. It says write the equation of a line that is perpendicular to the line above and contains 2, 3. So I've got a point, but I don't have my slope. But do I? What would my perpendicular slope be? Well, perpendicular to -1/2 is +2 over 1, or just +2. I've got my slope. I've got a point. Same process. My y is 3 equals my slope, which is 2, times my x, which is 2, plus b. All right, we got 3 equals 4 plus b. Subtract 4, I get -1 equals b. So my final answer, y equals 2x minus 1. That would be the equation of the line that is perpendicular to the red one up above and goes through the point 2, 3. All right. Perfect. Let us continue. My thing wouldn't import properly, so I have to slide these up. Isn't that fun? Okay. Next example. It says find the equation of a line that is parallel to 2y minus 6x equals 15 and passes through that point. Okay. So I've got a point once again. That's good. That's a start. I've got 4, 3, but I need a slope. If it's parallel, what does that mean? Parallel, then we have our same slope. And we know from before, perpendicular, we have opposite reciprocals. Okay, those are things that you might want to jot down. All righty. And when we notate parallel, parallel is just like two slightly slanted lines. Those lines are slightly turned, but we put two of them there. They are parallel lines. That's our notation, as opposed to perpendicular, which we know is the upside down T. We've used that a lot. So that's parallel and perpendicular. Okay. So do I have a slope here? It's not -6. It's not in slope-intercept form. This is kind of close to standard form, but not quite. So let's rearrange this. I would have 2y equals 6x plus 15. And then I can divide by 2 on everything. I don't care about the 15 over 2. All I care about is this. What's 6 divided by 2? That is 3. So my slope equals 3. That's all I'm doing with that equation. I'm just figuring out what my slope is. I've got a slope. I've got a point, already circled. We're ready to write our equation, or we're almost there to write our equation on a line. So we've got 3 equals, because that's my y. 3 is my slope. 4 is my x plus b. Let's solve it. 3 equals 12 plus b. Subtract 12, we get -9 equals b. I'm ready to rock and roll. We got y equals 3x minus 9. That is an equation that is parallel to the line up there and going through the point for 3. Awesome. I love this stuff. This is great. So much fun. A little algebra review. Remember the stuff that you guys keep telling me you're good at. So make sure you're good at this. All right. Otherwise, you know, I feel like you've lied to me. I don't want you to lie to me. Make sure you're good at this. Okay. I believe in you. Ooh. Write the equation of the perpendicular bisector to the segment with the given endpoints. All right. Now we're bringing in our geometry. Our concept of a perpendicular bisector. We've just talked about that a couple lessons ago. Now we're going to write an equation of a line, so we're connecting our algebra and our geometry because we love doing that. Okay. Well, the two things that I need are a slope and I need a y-intercept. So I'm just going to jot those up here. Once we get them, we'll put them in that place. Okay? Those are the two things I need. Well, I want to write the equation of the perpendicular bisector to the segment with the given endpoints. So this segment, let's say, is 2, 9, -6, 7. Okay. There we go. So we got -6, 7, and 2, 9. Let's say that's our segment. Okay? I really don't care where it is on the coordinate plane. I'm just using this as a visual. Well, my perpendicular bisector is going to cut right through the middle and be perpendicular to it, right? And it will cut right through here. So what is that point right there where they intersect? That would be the midpoint of the blue line. Well, let's find the midpoint. Midpoint formula would tell me, let's see here, 2 plus -6 over 2, comma, 9 plus 7 over 2. That would be my ordered pair for my midpoint. 2 and -6 gives me -4 divided by 2 is -2. And then, there's my comma. And then 9 plus 7 is 16 divided by 2 is 8. So this is my midpoint, which is a point that's on the line. Okie dokie. That is a point on the line. I'm going to use that to help me write my equation. But I also need a slope. Well, a slope of this blue line, the slope of the blue line, change in y over change in x, so 7 minus 9 is -2. And then -6 minus 2 is -8. And it really doesn't matter which one you start with. I could have done 9 minus 7 is 2, and 2 minus -6 is +8, as long as you're consistent with which one you start with, remember. So my slope here is 1/4. So what's my perpendicular slope of my red line then, right? My perpendicular slope, my slope of my red line is going to be -4, my opposite reciprocal. All right. Got my slope. Alrighty, and for the second half of this exciting problem here, we have a live studio audience, a 6-hour class. How are you guys doing? Great. Woo! So I made a mistake when making this video, but we're going to correct that mistake now. We've got our slope. However, now we need our point. We have found our point. That point is, of course, our midpoint down here, -2, 8. America. Yes, indeed, children. Alrighty, so if I'm plugging into my y equals mx plus b, my y is my 8, my slope is -4, my x is -2, and we're solving for b. Well, -4 times -2 is what, children? 8. Very good. So if I subtract that 8 over, what does b end up equaling? 0. So my equation of the line is y equals -4 for my slope, x plus 0. So it's just y equals -4x. And that would be my equation of that perpendicular bisector. How exciting.
Thrilling.
Thrilling, in fact. Very good. Alrighty, let's go to our last problem here of the day here. I know it's very sad that it's the last problem, but it's basically the same type of question, except we have a picture instead, which is always great to have a nice little visual. So when we're writing our equation of the perpendicular bisector, just a little review here. What point is it going to be going through in this case? What's that point called if it's going to be a perpendicular bisector to AB? Midpoint. Very good. I heard it in the back. Very nice. Our midpoint, which will be somewhere right around here. And my perpendicular bisector is going to look something like that. It's going to be perpendicular to that line. All right, well, first, let's find our midpoint. Our midpoint will be, well, let's see here. 18 plus 12 is 30. Divided by 2 is 15. 4 plus 10 is 14. Divided by 2 is 7. So that would be the point that this line goes through. Now, how do I figure out my slope? Does anyone know how I'd figure out my slope? Ooh, yes, Presley.
Okay, so first you find the slope using the points A and B, and then you find the opposite.
Reciprocal. Opposite reciprocal. All right, so find the slope of AB. If I do that, it's y, change in y, 10 minus 4 is 6, over my change in x, 12 minus 8 is negative, or sorry, 12 minus 18 is -6. So my slope of AB is just -1. So what's my perpendicular slope going to be in this case? John!
It would be +1.
+1. You the man, brother. You the man. All right, so I've got my slope. I've got my point. Am I ready to write my equation of the line? Yes. Well, I guess I still need my y-intercept. But we're well on our way. So I've got 7 for my y equals, my slope is 1 times 15 for my x. Oops, sorry, not equals, my goodness, plus b. So if I, 1 times 15 is 15, subtract it. What do I end up getting for b here, children? -8. So my equation of my line, y equals 1x, so just x minus 8. Bippity, boppity. Any questions, children?
Nada.
Nada, says Grace. Nada. All righty. Wonderful. Well, I think that's all we have here, folks. So do homework and things. America.